The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another hot episode of HBCU Hour. It's your boy Poopel. Got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
What's up with it, dog?
Nothing much. Man, it's been a minute since we got a chance to do an HBCU Hour. But I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk HBCU. Dog, what a weekend. What a weekend. Some great games. I was gonna grab my Grambling shirt, throw on with you. I see you had your Grambling hat on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I went ahead and put on my Southern shirt, represent for Coach Graves and those guys down in Baton Rouge. It was a good weekend, man. Great weekend overall. We had a lot of surprises, some great comebacks. It's some first wins.
Blowouts.
Yeah, we got plenty of blowouts. Some of y'all, hey, we might have to do a follow-up episode because I think we found out who was lying.
For sure.
I know a school that was, you know what I'm saying, they were talking, well, I ain't gonna say the whole
cash money.
They were talking some cash money. Said they were gonna do some things. And,
it's a few schools like that, though. I can't even lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say it, man. It's one school in particular. I knew they was lying, but I felt like, maybe they got a chance. Maybe they got a chance to do some of this. They played one school tough. I was like, okay, maybe they finna do something. Yeah, they got beat by 50 something this weekend. So
yeah.
So
yeah.
But man, we're gonna get into it. But first, man, like we always say, thank you for watching. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're with us, and we appreciate that. Y'all do us a favor. Don't forget, subscribe, like, share. Let everybody know. Come in. Guys staying hard at coming in hot. We'll get to it though. But let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors over at BetOnline. BetOnline.ag. We'll be back in 1 minute. BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey, we are back. First, man, let's go ahead and get into it. Valley, my goodness, Mississippi Valley took on Nicholls this weekend, and it was ugly from the jump. Fourth quarter was close. Nicholls only scored 7, but other than that, Mississippi Valley State, they got beat 66-0.
Yeah, it was tough Saturday for Mississippi Valley, man. Really couldn't get nothing going offensively, and then like you mentioned, defensively, it seemed like they couldn't stop Nicholls. And I know that fourth quarter they held them to just a touchdown, but
Yeah,
I,
by
I
that
think
point.
I think Nicholls probably could have called off the dogs a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're Valley, man, that's one of them games where you go in just trying to compete. You know what I mean? Like you just trying to. I feel like what Valley at right now, they not ready to compete with Nicholls and them yet. You know what I mean? They're not quite
Right.
there at this stage of their program.
Yeah. You want to take a guess total yards that Valley had?
It wasn't good. I know that. I'm gonna say probably 200.
159 total offensive yards.
Yes,
They had 166 passing and -7 rushing. Yeah. It was just they couldn't get going offensively passing. Tajarian Williams, he threw 3 picks. He was 3 of 8 for 28 yards. He threw 3 picks. Reuben Lee, 7 of 16, 122 yards, but he threw a pick as well. Jaden Sisk, 2 of 13, 16 yards. He threw 2 picks. So they threw 6 picks total.
Yeah,
That's I mean, I don't care who you are. That's just not gonna cut it. Nicholls had a fumble, but I mean, if you win the turnover margin by 5, it's nothing you can do.
Nicholls also had over 650 yards of offense.
Yes, they did.
That's just your defense being out there a lot. You know what I mean? Whenever your offense can't get anything going and you steady sending your defense out there, sometimes in bad situations because of the turnovers, ain't really nothing you can ask for your defense in some of them situations. They're gonna give up points based off the situation they've been put in. So you like to see more complimentary football where the offense can keep some drives going, put some points on the board, and don't put the defense in compromising situations like you saw Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, speaking of, man, they weren't the only team that got, shellacked. And I hate to say it because they treat me so nice and I love them. Alabama A&M, man, went up to good old Austin Peay to take on the Governors, and they got beat 59-16. That box score looked almost just like what's funny is it's identical to the Valley box score. The only difference is in the second quarter. Austin Peay didn't score a touchdown. They had 14 instead of 21. But that game in itself, like I said, it just looked bad all around. Quad Brown couldn't get things going. He was 13-23, 179. He did throw a touchdown, but he also threw a pick. Xavier Smith came in the game, 4-7, 23 yards, and he also threw a pick. We talked about in the offseason, Alabama A&M being one of the best running back rooms in the conference. It doesn't help if they only got 57 yards.
Yeah, and some of that sack yards, but still, you would think
no. That was rush. They had negative. I mean, sack yards was -10, so it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
It's
Ooh.
yeah. I know you're trying to find a way to explain it, but it's.
But you would think that with Donovan Eaglin and them boys, you would be able to at least establish the run game. But I think the major question right now, if you a dog, is who gonna be the quarterback and who's gonna emerge from that battle. It looked like this game Quad Brown kind of was the man, but is that gonna be the case going forward? And if so, how do you put him in the best situations to be successful? And that starts with having a solid running game and not asking him to do too much and allowing that running game to be the focal point of your offense.
Yeah. So when I was at the Kentucky State, Alabama A&M Kentucky State game, Quad Brown played that game. He had a really good game. Maynard named Quad Brown the starting quarterback this summer, right? I think it was like right before week 1. And I think what we did, so even in the game against Kentucky State, which was week 2, Quad Brown started. He played most of the game, but he did put in Xavier Langford and Xavier Langford did like quarterback sneak, got it in the end zone, and they moved forward. So he's still, I think he's QB1, but Maynard is still going to rotate another quarterback in. I don't know if it's just to, give Quad Brown a different look, pull him to the side. Hey, check this out. This is what, let him sit out a series. But I'm going to tell you the issue I have with A&M. And it's the people who are watching may disagree. They have probably one of the best rosters talent-wise in the SWAC. Defensively, I feel like they are improved. I would have said they probably top 3 defense in the SWAC. I would have said that. Somebody else took that, kind of jumped in there and, surprised me a little bit. We're going to get the biggest issue for me is I'm tired of seeing Alabama A&M win the SIAC. I'm sorry. I'm tired of seeing them play FCS opponents, whoop them up, and then when it comes to SWAC or you playing another FCS program, then I said FCS opponent. I'm sorry, playing a D2 opponent. I'm tired of seeing them play a D2 opponent, whooping up on them, and then when it comes time for FCS ball or playing up, you're taking lumps. They're better than that, a lot better than that, and I just hate seeing that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think their schedule don't get any easier the next few weeks. Having FAMU and Jackson State on deck. I mean, if you're gonna be a contender in the SWAC, you got to put up better performances on offense than what we saw Saturday against Austin Peay. Yeah, you scored 16 points, but at the same time, you can't be one-dimensional like that and not have that running game going whenever you go up against these conference opponents who are familiar with you and who know what you're trying to do offensively. You got to be more balanced offensively.
Agreed. But again, like I said, they weren't the only ones. I'm gonna come back to some of the other big losses, blowouts. But I want to talk about Texas Southern, man. I think I'm gonna say it. I owe Coach Dishman a little bit of an apology. I had counted them out this year because of what I had seen. Kind of looking at his resume. But Texas Southern they beat opening weekend, beat Prairie View. Let's see who else. They lost to somebody last week, Rice. Well, they lost to Rice 69-7, not last week, but week prior. And then they just took on Lamar, and they lost to Lamar by 3.
Yeah.
Very competitive team. I'm surprised to see how well they've played. It was nothing against Coach Dishman. I honestly, just looking at his resume, I didn't think he had the chops. I thought he, not necessarily saying he was a bad coach, but I just didn't know his experience outside of being a player, and not all players are
good,
But
I think in this game versus Lamar, if you coach Dishman or Texas Southern, you just, the main thing you hammering home right now is you got to finish.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You had a 10-0 lead at halftime, and you ultimately blow the lead in the second half, getting outscored 20-7 in the second half. So I mean, you did you did enough to win that ball game. I think you gotta capitalize, convert third down here, get a third down stop there. You know what I mean? It's the small things that come with playing a complete ball game that they have to do, and I think they right there on the brink. They just gotta, close the deal out and finish.
And our guest, I do have our special guest. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and bring him up now. Welcoming back to the program. I keep telling y'all, this man, he has I don't know. Every time I bring him on, I just thinking to myself, man, I don't know. Ant must got some incriminated evidence on my guy. So he just keep coming back. But our brother from another mother, Blue.
What's up, guys? Appreciate y'all having me again, man.
Man,
I appreciate you, brother.
I don't know if I can come get any more creative with your with your intros, man. It's like you have family over, you have them over enough, man. Look, you know where the food at. You know
That's fair.
Yeah. But man, good to have you back, brother. We talking about this Texas Southern Lamar game. And I was just about to say, and you're talking about, you gotta finish. I think another thing with this, you gotta get a little bit more creative. You can't be one-dimensional. Texas Southern ran the ball down Lamar's throat. Ran to a tune 48 times, 249 yards, but they only threw 10 passes and had 55 yards. I mean, I'm gonna stack the box.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they did have their backup quarterback this game, so I just don't know if they fully trusted him to run the offense. I really do think, because I think their starter's back this week against Jackson. If they have their starting quarterback, I think Texas Southern probably has a way better chance of winning this game and probably pulls it off even on the road. And I brought this up on one of the other shows I was on. I can't remember the last time a SWAC team has beaten a top 25 out of conference opponent. It's been a long time, I would imagine. So it would have been a massive win. I just don't think they trusted Davis to run the full offense like they would have if they had their starter.
Yeah.
I was thinking, so when I first saw this, I was like, whoa, Texas Southern keeping up with Lamar. I was like, man, but then I actually looked back. Lamar played Mississippi Valley, and although they won, they beat them by 14. And I'm looking like maybe Lamar just ain't as good as I thought as well.
Could be. The problem is the week after Valley, Lamar goes and beats a top 25 Weber State team from the Big Sky. So I don't really know what's up with Lamar. I just don't think Lamar's a team that's going to blow a lot of people out. They're just one of those teams that, listen, they just like to keep it close. They're like, we're going to win these thrillers and just keep putting W's in the wins in the W column, which is fine. But I don't think they're a team that's going to get many style points this year. I just don't think they have that explosiveness on offense to pull away from teams.
Yeah. Since we talking about the blowouts and stuff first. I guess we can go ahead and go there. North Carolina Central dropped 66 of them things. 66 of them things on Alabama, North Carolina A&T, the Eagle Aggie Classic. Yeah.
I think that was one point for every character in that tweet that their coach sent out.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Blue.
I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, I just think this is really just a statement of like how bad I think A&T is right now.
Yeah.
And I get it. Listen, the jokes are fun, but moving back to the MEAC isn't fixing this.
No.
Like,
no.
Leaving the MEAC was not the cause of like how bad this football team is. I think they might be right there with Dell State if they move back to the MEAC. So like, I just don't know what you do here. I mean, 66 points to a team on your level is crazy. They didn't look good at all. Listen, Jamari Taylor is that guy at running back. I said that when they went out there against Alabama State. Walker Harris probably played his best game that we've seen from him, and he's shown some flashes, but coming off an injury to do what he did was great. And I really like Jaqueen Davis at wide receiver for them as well. I think he has really good size on the outside, can go get the football, and is a playmaker. So I saw everything I wanted from Central. I just wish they would have went for 80. I mean, put as many points as you want on your rival. I don't think they should have pulled off, taking their foot off the gas, man. Leave Walker in there. Let him throw as many touchdowns as he wants.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Blue. Because last year, part of the problem for A&T was they didn't have a passing game. You know what I mean? That's obviously not a problem this year, as we've seen their offense be able to move the football. What exactly is the problem with A&T?
I still think it's the quarterback, because I think a lot of their yards have come in junk time. I don't think they're very efficient offensively. And I'll say this, and I said it on HBCU Nightly. I think they might have one of the worst collection of athletes offensively that in the FCS. I mean, even Kenji Christian at running back, he hasn't been super impressive this year. I think he got banged up in this game. And behind him, Graves has been unimpressive. Blizzard at running back has been unimpressive. And then at wide receiver, is there a guy that you guys can point to and it's like that's the playmaker for them? Because I can't, watching all these games. And we should have seen it coming, guys. I mean, they struggle with Winston-Salem State, and no disrespect to Winston-Salem State, but that game should never be close. Right. And Winston-Salem State had a real shot to win that game. So I don't even know how to fix A&T. And then defensively, they just can't stop anybody. They just allow points to everybody. And it's going to be a long season. You look at their schedule. If they lose to South Carolina State this weekend, I don't know if I or you guys see another win on that schedule. There's not at least a guaranteed win that you feel good about. You're going to be an underdog the rest of the way, and you're going to have to pull an upset.
Yeah, I see my guy Big Ricky from Hampton. A&T said they was gonna win homecoming. They playing Hampton, and the way Hampton been playing,
about that.
I don't see. They look at if they score. Walker Harris, 15 to 22, 254, 3 touchdowns. They brought in backup. Even the backups they came in threw a touchdown for North Carolina Central. On the flip side, for North Carolina A&T, Fomby, 12 of 26, 153, 2 picks. Braxton Thomas, 4 of 9, 46, 1 pick. Kevin White, 1 of 3, 9 yards, no picks. But I mean, just like we talked about with the Valley, if all you're doing is throwing picks, then it's going to be a long day. Oh, and they fumbled the ball.
Yeah, and led all the touchdowns, I want to say, too. So even and Central was penalized, I think, 13 times in this game, too. Yep. So it's just, I don't know. If you're A&T, you really have to look at the trajectory of your program right now and just be like, what are we doing? Do we have the right coach? Do we have the right staff? And I'm not on the bandwagon that like Vincent Brown's just a terrible coach. I do think he was a solid coordinator. I just don't think it's translated. And also, too, let's just be honest. The number one mistake a new head coach can make, especially a first-time head coach, is to hire the wrong coordinators. And I think he did that. And it just set this program back. And I just don't know if he can recover.
Yeah. I don't know how much of this is going to be, the talks, because the A&T folks will say all day, say it was time to move on from Sam Washington. But how bad did that really set this program back? Because I don't want to get into the weeds on it, but
I don't know. I mean, because it is a little bit hindsight. Because listen, they could have went in there with Sam Washington and still been getting their heads beat in.
Yeah, that's true.
And then everyone would have pointed and said, "Well, why didn't y'all fire Sam Washington when y'all moved to the CAA?" And so I get it. But I mean, the dude did win 7 games in his last year, but I heard there were a lot of other circumstances surrounding it. So maybe that was it. I don't know. But I just think A&T jumped into a conference they weren't willing to pay to compete immediately in. And until they start getting and I saw an A&T person say this, they're in the CAA with MEAC resources, and that's not a recipe for winning. Until they get up to CAA resources, I just don't know if they're going to be able to compete.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's actually a really good point. Really good point. Some of the other blowouts, where am I even typing? I'm typing stuff and I don't even see it. Some of the other blowouts from this weekend, I hate to see it. They always play a tough non-conference, but Alcorn got beat by McNeese 42-14. It's been a rough couple weeks for Alcorn and G. I tell you what, he might win a Twitter battle, but he been getting toe down on the field. Let's see what they did.
Nothing.
Yeah,
much.
Nothing. I mean, they moved the ball. I don't know. It was, 217 rushing, 204 passing. One of the, and it's ironic, the quarterback was your leading rusher. 16 carries, 127 yards, and the touchdown. He was 16 of 41. 16 of 41. Good God. He was 16 of 41 for 204, a touchdown and a pick. So
yeah, I mean they move the ball, but
yeah,
it don't matter if you can't put points on the board. You know what I mean? And obviously your defense is not doing their job either if you're giving up 42 points.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how good McNeese is. They're not as good as some of the teams that they've had in the past, but I don't think this team is 42 points on Alcorn good. You know what I mean? Like I think this says more about Alcorn than it does McNeese.
Yeah. McNeese is probably one slow start away from being 4-1. Honestly, because that opening week against I think week 0 against Tarleton State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they started slow. They made a valiant effort down the run. Clifton McDowell for McNeese. He was 15 of 21, 229, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He's been electric for him. He also added 8 carries, 76 yards, and a touchdown on the ground as well.
Well, you got to remember though, this is the same McNeese team that scored 21 against Southern, and they doubled that up on Alcorn. So I mean,
yeah. I mean, I didn't, again, another out of conference game that just kind of leaves you scratching your head. Now Alcorn could bounce back, but I mean, this was tough to watch.
Yeah,
I mean, and like you said, McNeese has improved, but McNeese, it should not be beating this team by 35 points or 28 points.
28, yeah.
4 touchdowns better than Alcorn. And this team's the 5th or 6th best team in the South End. Probably not a great look.
Yeah. Morgan State beat down Virginia Lynchburg. Delaware State. This was I hate to say it like this, impressive loss. They lost to Richmond 38-24.
More victories, eh?
Yeah, more victory.
It was close for a while, like midway through the third quarter, and then just things kind of got away from them.
Yeah, it was at halftime. It was actually going to the Delaware State was up 7-0 after the first. It was 14-10. Richmond at halftime, 28-17 at the end of the third, and then of course Richmond, added 10 more, and Delaware State added another touchdown. So,
and Marquis Adams though, yeah, he had him a nice game.
That's the problem though, is he's like their only good player offensively.
Yeah,
they just have nobody to help him. Like if he doesn't just carry the team to victory, they're going to lose. And that's what happened against Wagner. And then you saw it when they played well early in the season, Sacred Heart and stuff. It was all Marquis Adams. So the problem is I just don't think he can do it every week.
Yeah,
I never root for the transfer portal, but I'm hoping he stays, FCS, HBCU. But I mean, this kid's got to go somewhere where he's got some talent around him. I don't think he's got to get out of Delaware State.
Yeah.
Trying to think what's another one. UAPB. Yeah, UAPB. Central Arkansas beat them 56-17. Troy beat FAMU 34-12. Tennessee Tech 24, Tennessee State 14. How and why? Why?
Could never get it done.
I was just gonna say, this seems to be another year where it's like, what's going on, man? If you're Eddie George, what's like? I don't even know. I don't know.
I mean, what do you do? Because offensively, they were bad again.
Terrible.
I mean, they were atrocious offensively. So I don't know where you go from here, and especially because you couldn't run the football. What they had negative yards rushing or 0 yards rushing, something like that. How do you rush for 0 yards against a conference opponent?
Carries.
Guys, they give up 24 points, and the opposing quarterback threw for less than 100 yards and a pick.
And that pick was half your points because that was a pick 6.
Yeah. The problem is they gave the pick 6 back to end the game because that was the game sealing.
Yeah.
Todd Moss got Draylon just on I don't know what Draylon was looking at. Like, I don't like to call players out, but that one was just head scratching there.
Yeah. Norfolk State bounced back with a 32-10 win over VMI. And that's all I think that's all the blowouts and losses. Yeah, as far as
that's all the blowout losses.
That's all the no. That's all the ones that were HBCU versus non-HBCU or you know. Now, let's talk. Let's talk.
I know there's one Ant's dying to talk about right now.
Yes, sir, and that's where we're going right now. Coach T.C. Taylor in Jackson State went down to the hole, Grambling, Louisiana. And they left Mickey Joseph, man, getting it done. 41-20 victory over Jackson State. Our man, Mo Carter, was on the call with Centauri Black. Centauri Black. Hey, that's a good. I like that. I like them as a duo, you know, calling games. But I'm impressed. When I was talking about a defense that, you know, top 3, Grambling is there.
What, top 3 in FCS?
At least SWAC, at least HBCU. At least.
They got to be one of the better defenses in FCS. At least at creating turnovers. What we've seen them do the last couple of weeks, that Texas A&M Commerce game where they had 4 interceptions. Then coming in against Jackson State, getting another interception and a fumble recovery. Man, I think actually 2 interceptions versus Jackson State, if I'm not mistaken. So you know they've gotten their fair share of turnovers, making big plays, and they might not be the most stingiest defense as far as yards given up and all that, but they make big plays and they take the football away, and that's, to me, that's kind of more valuable because you gives your offense, you know, another possession. You know what I mean? Like, you can, giving up nice yards, you know, no yards is nice and all that, but whenever you take the football away and you give your offense the ball in good field position and give them more opportunity to score, the way Brown has been running the football with Bull Hargrove, I mean, I think that's a recipe for success because we all know what Miles Crowley can be. If you give him another competent run game.
And he hasn't even got started yet.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. He ain't had to either, though. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Like, they've been able to run the football and play good defense, you know, so it's complimentary football right now. And so you got a guy that if you need him to, he can go win you the football game with his arm. You know what I mean? So if you Grambling, you got to be feeling happy with where you're at right now. You know, you've been able to kind of establish an identity on offense. It's going to be a heavy run team with Hargrove and Trey Bradford and those guys, those Power 4 transfers, or those you know FBS transfers. So they've established the run game. They playing takeaway on defense, ball hawking, forcing fumbles. I mean, they they clicking right now at the right time. You know what I mean? And if, like I said, if Miles if he can just continue to kind of, I don't want to say manage the game because that makes it sound like he ain't really doing nothing. You know what I mean? But if he can continue to just kind of play point guard out there and just control the offense,
mistake-free ball.
Football, yeah, that's all the team really need right now. And they in a pretty good shape, man. Like, this is a Jackson State team that we all know is very talented. You know, like, I don't want to make it seem like they just not a good football team, but at the same time, Grambling put them in situations where they made mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And they capitalized off those mistakes. They got a touchdown off interception. You know what I mean? They had a fumble return for a touchdown. You know, so they directly turned their mistakes into points. So if they can continue to do that to teams and not only force them to make mistakes, but capitalize on the mistakes, they'll be fine down in conference play.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Patrick Marshall had himself a game.
Yeah,
he had himself a game too. He was when they got the fumble and he picked it up and it. I mean, I guess you could call it scoop and score because the ball was right there at the goal line, so he just kind of picked it up and rolled in the end zone. But yeah, he had a game, massive game. Because that shifted that changed the entire game right there. Because that Jackson State had just scored. Dupree had broke out on a tackle and took it to the house.
That kid fast, bro.
Extremely fast.
That kid fast, dog.
Yeah, because that put the game at 21-20. And then from there, once that happened, it was, they got that fumble score and that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, what they scored 24 points off of the 5 turnovers they forced this weekend.
Yeah,
that's scored. Insane.
Yeah,
because you got 14 from the 2 that they actually returned, and then they scored points on the drives following the turnovers. Like, you can't win a game against anybody allowing 24 points off of turnovers. It's just not going to happen. And then also, the biggest momentum swing was that holding call that took back I think it was a touchdown for Jackson, or at least a long gain.
Yeah.
And then the next play, they had the fumble that led to the touchdown. It was over from there. And like you said, Hargrove, I saw flashes in week 1. And I was a little bit disappointed over the past few weeks. I feel like he never really got it going. This weekend, we finally saw what that could look like. Andrew Jones as well. For Grambling, had a massive game, was everywhere. But man, you got to give. Okay, so I get the people saying Commerce was a fluke, because how often are you going to force 6 turnovers? Like, it's hard to do.
I mean,
when you come back the next week, and force 5, I don't know if necessarily. Now, listen, 5 and 6 is insane. Maybe 1 or 2 of those might have been luck, but you kind of have a trend now where they play bend but don't break, and they're just going to wait for you to make a mistake, and they're athletic enough and in position to capitalize on them. Guys, they forced 15 turnovers this season.
Yeah,
11 in the past 2 games.
Yep,
that's a problem. If they can keep that up, man, it's just insane.
They got athletes in the back end of that secondary, man. And they, like you say, they give up yards. They aren't the most technically sound defense at all times, but the athletes they got in the back end of that secondary can make plays, and they believe in their ability to make plays. You know what I mean? So that, like you said, they know that sooner or later you're gonna mess up, and when you mess up, I'm good enough to where I'm gonna capitalize on that mistake. And so far in these last few games, it's worked. Now, will it work all season? Who knows? We'll find out. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they've been able to win games, like you said, Pooh, without having to rely on Miles Crawley. And if we would have said that at the beginning of the season, I think everybody would have said there's no way that happens with this Grambling team. But that's been the case so far this year.
Yeah. 20 unanswered points. That's what they scored after that fumble. 20 after Jackson State scored 20, and they got that fumble.
Look at this stat right here though. Jackson State outgained Grambling like 440 yards to 270 or something like that.
I actually was just looking at that. Yeah, exactly.
So I mean,
and somehow Grambling won the time of possession with like 200 less yards or something like that. How is that even possible?
Well, that's just like because like you said, Jackson State had some explosive plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That long touchdown run that took 8 seconds off the clock or whatever it was. You know what I mean? But that was like Grambling's gonna give up plays here and there. You know what I mean? But what they're banking on is they're gonna make more plays on that defense than they give up.
Yeah, the and how they win time of possession, I can tell you how. In the last 5 minutes, I think Jackson State had the ball. No, I'm sorry, not the last 5 minutes. The last quarter, I think Jackson State had the ball like 3 or 4 times, and they fumbled or turned it over, and Grambling just got the ball and slowly moved down the field and will take a field goal here or take a field goal there, or get the touchdown. So,
and after go ahead.
Oh no, but I'd say at the end of the third quarter, from 1 minute left in the third to the end of the game, Jackson had drives of 20 seconds, 35 seconds, 36 seconds, 7 seconds, a minute 30, and then only had one drive get over 2 minutes, and it was 2 minutes and 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. They just couldn't keep hanging on to the ball. And Grambling had, I think, 2 drives with negative yards that took up like 2 to 3 minutes of possession time. Just insane. I mean,
and I'll say this too about Grambling. Not only have they been taking the ball away, but they've been doing a pretty good job of not turning it over themselves. You know what I mean? Like this game right here, they took the ball away 5 times, turned it over 0. Last week versus Commerce, I think they won a turnover battle by 3. So if you're able to do that, you're gonna be in pretty good position to win the ball game. But I think another thing about them is they've been playing disciplined football. You know what I mean? Not too many penalties, but kind of the exact opposite from Jackson State this game. I think they had 10 penalties this game, double-digit penalties, and you expect a few penalties going in the road, you know what I mean, and dealing with the opposing fans, especially when you got almost 20,000 in the hole. But 11 penalties, that's just uncharacteristic of Jackson State.
After this weekend, Grambling leads the nation in turnover margin with 11. They're plus 11 this year on turnovers, and they lead the nation in turnovers gained with 15.
Yeah, I'll take it, man. And Dooley, you got to give Dooley credit too, man. Like
he's much credit.
He's been dialing it up compared to what we saw at Southern the last couple of years, man. He's been in his bag.
I think he's the definition of coordinator more so than a head coach. Like, he just needs to stay in OC, make his money, do his thing, because I just don't think he's good in the CEO type of role.
Hey, some guys just meant to be number 2, man. You know what I mean?
And that's fine. You could be a legendary coordinator. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, do y'all remember a couple years ago? And I'm not, stick with me. Y'all remember when Trump said we're gonna build a wall, get Mexico to pay for it? Southern got a stadium built and got Prairie View to pay for it. Southern has never lost in that new stadium at Prairie View, and it looked like it was about to happen this weekend.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Up 14-3 at half. Up 21-16 at the end of the third. Up 24-16. And you said, wow.
Is it safe to say Southern found that quarterback?
No, I don't know. I think whatchamacallit was missed.
Yeah, T-Set was hurt.
Yeah,
he had that high ankle sprain from Jackson.
Yeah. But I'm saying
he'll be the starter when he comes back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like because it ain't like Noah went out there and did anything to take the job. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay. I see what you mean now. Yeah, but yeah.
If there ain't no question about who the quarterback is. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Noah came in and put on a performance to make it seem like, oh, we got a controversy on our hands now. You know what I mean? They got their guy. When he's healthy, he's their guy. But I think this, like we talked about earlier, I think this says more about Prairie View than Southern.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're just not good. I mean, let's just be honest here. Like, they missed, like, now I know Coley got hurt, but he wasn't great in his one appearance. So I think they missed on him. Peters has been okay, but just not that guy. I think the biggest miss for PV was at running back. That's been their issue. Guys, they're averaging like 2 yards a carry, 1.9, something like that this year. They can't run the ball against anybody. And they brought in an experienced guy from Campbell and McDowell. They had some returning guys, young guys who they thought were going to be able to step up. They can't run the football. And if you don't have a quarterback and can't run the football, you're going to be a bad team. And they didn't fix their defense. Their defense was horrible last year, one of the worst in the conference. And they might be worse this year, which is insane to think about. And there were talk last night on HBCU Nightly that they think that McDowell could be fired. His contract expires at the end of this season.
I can see it.
Yeah. So if they're 1-3, 0-2 in the West, it's over for them, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just don't know. I don't know how you fix the issues that they have mid-season. You know what I mean? Because I believe it's a roster problem, not necessarily a schematic problem. I agree with pretty much everything you said. Whenever your punter has like almost as many yards as your offense, it's not a good showing, man. And we've seen Prairie View struggle on one side of the ball for a while, but they've at least had the other side of the ball where they could, kind of hang their hat and carry the team. But both sides are struggling right now. You can't even say, yeah, this is the strong point of our team right now. Neither side of the ball is holding their own. And I mean, if you look at their schedule, it ain't gonna get any easier. I mean, yeah, they got a Pine Bluff game in a couple weeks that they should be able to kind of get right on. But I mean, you got Grambling, you got Incarnate Word, you got Commerce, like you got some teams on the schedule in the next few weeks that it ain't gonna get any better anytime soon.
We also got to give a little bit of credit to Southern too, because in the second half they changed up their offensive line unit. That's been a big issue for me and for a lot of Southern people I've heard, is that the offensive line has been really bad this year. Once they changed that, they were running the football more efficiently. They were protecting Noah. I thought that's a big plus in my opinion for grades. So I've been super critical of this year. Mm-hmm. The fact that he made those mid-game adjustments, that we got to change something on the offensive line. We got to change something in this running game. They went out there and ran for almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner. Man, this like what I said is this That's Southern awesome team that we saw this weekend in the second half was what we thought Southern was going to be coming into the year. With the strong defensive line, created negative plays, can run the football, solid offensive line. They finally got it all click. It's just I question if they can continue that when they go up against the Gramblings, even the Alcorns, like some of the other teams are going to face this year. Can they keep that up? I just don't know.
And I think they got a pretty good stable of backs. I think if they can, like you said, if they can fix the offensive line and get some guys up front who can create some holes for those backs, I think they got between Dylan and the transfer from Graham, CJ Russell. You know what I mean? They got guys in that backfield. The Rhymes kid, they got guys in that backfield who can make some things happen and who can take some pressure off the quarterback. But like you say, it all starts up front, and I didn't realize they made a change to their unit at halftime. So that makes sense.
I didn't either.
That running game got picked up like the way it did.
Yeah. You talked about, it's funny because when you mentioned, I was thinking about, I was like, man, there was something about that when you talked about Noah Bowden, and you was like, I'm just don't think he's the, y'all saw the 2-point conversion, right? Mm-hmm. That was a disaster waiting to happen, and it just so happened to work out for him. So But man, kudos to say Coach Graves with the big win. That's number one, ain't it? Ain't that number one? First one?
No, that's the second win.
Second
Graves
season.
Yeah, because they beat Savannah State.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But man, congratulations on the big win. But that's definitely not the biggest win of the weekend. This was one of my favorites, and this is I can admit when I was wrong. I picked Miles to win the SAIC. SIAC. I keep saying SA. That's a doggone company. I picked Miles to pick the SIAC. I still don't think that was a bad pick, but the way Clark Atlanta's been playing, and the way Coach Keaton got them boys rolling,
coaching matters.
Yeah.
Does this say more about Clark Atlanta or Bethune-Cookman?
I think it says a lot about Well, I think it says more about Clark Atlanta. To be fair, I think Bethune
20-point lead at half.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think it's Bethune. I mean, it was 28-7 at the end of the first quarter, 34-14 at halftime. How do you lose this game?
I stopped watching this game. I stopped watching. I stopped keeping up with score, everything, and then I look back and it was like 38-35, and I was like, oh.
See,
I'm sorry, 37-35. I was like, oh.
I stopped watching it like early on, and then I went back on my phone to check the score, and I seen that it was like 34-28, and I was like, oh man, they trying to come back. Let me cut it on and see what happened. And it was pretty much all Clark Atlanta from what I watched in that second half, man. For Bethune to have the talent that they have on their team, something just ain't there. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like they don't play as a unit. I don't know if it's they still trying to gel as a team, and you got so many transfers in that they still haven't found their chemistry yet, or if it's a buy-in thing, or the players are still trying to buy into what the staff is selling them. But I can't put my finger on it, but something just don't seem right with Bethune.
They scored on their first 6 drives. All 6 got points and then just fell apart. And listen, Cameron Ransom was solid at quarterback for them.
That's the problem. That's the problem. So when you say he was solid at quarterback, it's 22 of 31 for 382, 3 touchdowns, 3 tutties. He was 11 carries, 79 yards, and another touchdown. He had 79, right?
Yep.
The team as a whole had 95.
Yep. I was about to say this. Like, they have no rushing attack outside of him.
Yeah.
He accounted for, I think, 90% of their total offense yesterday.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Here's the thing, though. David Wright is as advertised.
Agreed.
30 of 49, 374 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. He also added another 10 carries for 21 yards. What a day. Man, I don't know what to say. The kid is amazing. I don't know what's taking the SIAC so long to get their weekly honors out. You can put his name down for all 4 positions. At this
give
point.
him the defensive player of the year award. I'm
cool
with
exactly.
It.
Yeah,
you just can't give him special teams.
Kickers got to get the special.
55 yards, bro,
with 5 plus yards to spare. He could have hit that from 60 plus.
Man.
There's some SWAC teams that need to get some NIL together if that kid has the extra eligibility. Because
some SWAC teams, boy, some FBS schools gonna be calling him, man. 55 yards.
Speaking of David Wright, he's thrown for 1,300 yards and 14 touchdowns this year. That leads Division II. We're talking about he might win the Heisman at the D2 level this year, right now.
What's that?
I forget what the award's called. Because that kid from what was it, like Colorado School of Mines won it?
Yeah.
A while back.
That's video game numbers.
Is it the Walter Payton?
We're talking about
that's the one here. Oh, it's the Harlan Hill Trophy.
There you go. Yeah.
We're talking about David Wright though. I mean, Armani Harris had himself 3 touchdown receptions, 94 yards receiving, like, and he wasn't even their leading receiver. They had another guy with 127 yards, Jamal Jones. So, but 3 touchdowns and 94 yards, that's a nice day at the office.
Has an HBCU player ever won the Harlan Hill Trophy? I don't think they have.
I doubt it.
I'm about to look it up.
I literally just started typed it in.
Let's see, I'm going through it here. Oh, that's a no.
Yep, no.
Unless I'm overlooking.
Strong, no, because I'm looking myself. I don't see it.
Yeah. It's wild to see some of these old schools that used to be at D2. I'm seeing like North Dakota State and North Alabama and Northern Colorado.
It's funny because I see old Will Hall's name with North Alabama, now the coach at Southern Miss. So,
and Chris Hatcher won it and is head coach at Sanford now.
That's crazy. But no.
Wow, that's crazy. So talk about history potentially being made with David Wright.
Yeah, for real. That would be
like
major.
1,300 passing yards through 4 games is an insane pace.
Has it been 4 games?
Yeah,
it's been 4.
I ain't know because I thought the D2 guys.
Some D2 teams.
Yeah.
You're right.
Hold on. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up here. Pull up their schedule. What they did. Where is it?
This might be 3 games. No, they're 3-0-1 because apparently, remember they had that tie that the inclement weather suspended the Florida Memorial game.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, I don't remember when that got suspended. So talk about he could even have more stats if that game finishes because it was tied.
3.5 games. You know what I mean? Like,
that's wild. That is wild. Anything else on this game before we move on?
No, we gotta talk about the pirate ship versus the
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. But listen, that's what
Battle of the Real HU.
Yeah,
which hasn't been a battle recently, but
so
is it a rivalry if it's one-sided like this?
So I'm gonna tell you what this reminds me of. LSU, Alabama. Because this is 8 straight for Hampton. And it's funny because you look at it, they say we've won 8 of the last 10. No, you've won 8 straight. Then you had 2 that Howard won, but before that, it was a battle. It was lopsided on the other side.
I get your comparison, but Howard might feel a little bit differently since they have won the MEAC since then. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's true. They won it. I mean,
they've done. Yeah. But to your point though, it's like one of the biggest games on your schedule. You haven't won it in 8 years. You know what I mean? Like you can try to sugarcoat it. You can try to change the narrative or whatever you want to do, but you can't get over the hump right now.
And it's bad. It looks bad. Yeah. And the since 95, so from 95 to 2024, 22-6. So Hampton has won 22 of the last 28.
Dang.
That is a lot. Just call it off at this point. Howard needs to be getting a check for this. This sounds like a money game.
Yeah, for real.
That's what they said in the chat. They said it's not a robbery. It's just a chance to party in DC.
That's exactly for real. That's it ain't. It can't be a rivalry if only one side winning, man.
Yeah, man. Strong win for the conservatives.
Oh God, bro.
Oh man.
Oh man. But
Booker T versus Marion Barry. All right, I'm done. My bad, Big Reek. My bad.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's been ugly. I will say the last 2 years have been close. But like you said, man, you gotta come on, man.
I think this game can kind of be boiled down to Hampton winning the turnover battle.
Oh, I wasn't gonna go there. I said Marion Barry.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's wild. But I think it can go back to Hampton winning the turnover battle and Hampton being 9 of 15 on third down. If you can convert, 60% of your third downs, man, you're gonna be in pretty good shape in the ball game. I mean,
agreed.
And on the flip side, Howard only converted like a third of theirs. You know what I mean? So whenever you stacking first downs and you keeping drives going, you're gonna be in a pretty good shape to win the ball game. But I think if you Howard, you got to try to find somebody other than Ethan James and Hawthorne on your offense, bro. Like them two guys had over 200 and some yards of offense, and when you get to playing defenses like Morgan State and some of the defenses you're gonna have to play in conference, you're gonna have to be more balanced on offense as far as not just going to two guys the whole game. You're gonna have to get more people involved. You're gonna have to get more creative on offense.
It was also too with Howard. It was just a game of missed opportunities. I feel like because they got into Hampton territory a bunch. They had a missed field goal, turnover on downs, a fumble. I want to say they punted inside Hampton territory at one point. I guess they didn't trust her. It is what it is there, but you can't get inside the other team's territory and come away with no points 4 times and win a game like this. And also, too, let's give Hampton some credit. They just keep finding ways to win the game. Like Chris Zealous didn't throw for a lot of yards, but every time he doesn't turn the football over, guys, like they find a way to win. If he just doesn't throw any interceptions, Hampton's damn near undefeated. If he just doesn't turn the ball over the past 2 years, and then for Snipes to emerge to pair with Burris, you got to give Hampton some credit, man. The offensive line was dominating the line of scrimmage too. So I think Hampton just looked like the better team, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. I gotta give credit to the Pirate Ship guys, Big Reek and Jeff, because so far they won line. They told us that when Prunty got fired, they said, ironically, this might be the best team they've had, and with the coach in the match, and so far that's looked to be true. So I'm excited to see what Hampton do. Possibly in the CAA. Be interesting. Next up, man, I'm just kind of go through recap, score wise, some of the SIAC and the CIAA games. Started off Thursday night. Edward Waters went down to Columbia, South Carolina, take on Benedict. Benedict came out with a thrilling last second walk-off touchdown, winning 31-38 over Edward Waters. Then on Saturday, Savannah State went into Tuskegee and got the win 20-16. Albany State with the win over Central State 28-7. Morehouse with the comeback victory in the Chicago Classic, beating Kentucky State 31-28. Lane took on Miles in Birmingham. Miles got the big win, 42-32. Fort Valley State lost to Delta State 27-24 in a heartbreaker. And Allen beat Point University 35-10. Switching over to CIAA. Man, these I ain't gonna lie, they whooping my butt tonight. The acronyms. Switching over, Shaw beat Lincoln, PA, 48-14. Winston-Salem State with the upset, 15-14 over Virginia State.
Huge.
Fed, yeah, huge. That was I guess they were fighting Gaithers this week instead of Stephen A. Smith's. Fayetteville State 31-7 over Elizabeth City State. Livingstone went down to Bowie and lost 31-17. And Johnson C. Smith. Johnson C. Smith with the 21-16 victory over Virginia Union.
Let's see Johnson C. Smith.
Yeah. Oh, Rodney Perry said Chris Zealous fumbled inside the 5 and the entire momentum of the game changed. So we're going to talk about the players of the week, the SWAC and MEAC player. I'm sorry, SWAC, MEAC, and CIAA players of the week in a second. But first, man, I do want to touch on the NFL real quick. Shout out to Emmanuel Wilson getting his first career touchdown yesterday for the Green Bay Packers. Caught I think it was like a 20-yard screen pass from Malik Willis, took it to the house. So that was big for him. Then you had, it's funny because I had to tell Ann about this because he thought this game was over. Xavier Smith on his first career punt return for the St. Louis. Good God, for the Los Angeles Rams on his first career.
Yeah, my boy.
From his first career punt, returned at 38 yards, got it inside of plus territory for the Rams, and they won on a field goal, beating the 49ers 27-24. That was huge setup by him. All right, next up, man, let's look at the players of the week. All right, here we go. All right, first up, the SWAC for the offensive player of the week, Cameron Ranson. We just talked about what he did through the air and on the ground at quarterback for Bethune-Cookman. For the defense, you knew it had to be somebody from this team, but Grambling's Brendan Barley got defensive player of the week for the SWAC. Specialist Cameron Gillis from Florida A&M, and newcomer was Quintel Quinn from Texas Southern.
How do y'all feel about players on losing teams getting player of the week?
That's a good question.
If it's SWAC on, if you're playing, you're in your conference, SWAC on SWAC, I can see it.
They lost
to a D2 team though.
They blew a 20-point lead.
Who?
Bethune.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, sure. You know what I was thinking about? I forgot all about that. I was thinking about the FAMU and Texas Southern because they also lost. And
now I'm with the Texas Southern too. You lost to another FCS program. Like FAM, I get it. You played a money game, but I just don't know. Like it's a little bit torn because like I feel like if it's obvious, like if a dude goes out there and like let's just say he throws 8 touchdowns, gotta be player of the week. But what I feel like if it's close, especially a quarterback win-loss counts for quarterbacks.
That's true. I mean, Cameron Ranson, we talked about it. 382, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and then another 79 on the ground and a touchdown.
But they lost.
Yeah, they did. But can you put that on him or do you say defense?
I'm just trying to think who you replace him with because, like, who?
That's the problem. There's nobody
offensively I could think of I've seen that we talked about.
The only 2 teams that won were Grambling and Southern. That's really embarrassing. Yeah, the only 2 winning teams were Grambling and Southern, and I don't think either of them had anybody go crazy.
What you gonna give it to Bull Hargrave with 80 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns?
So I'm fine with it this week. Yeah, so I'm fine with it this week, but typically I don't like players on losing teams getting player of the weeks.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Now I got a question for newcomer of the week. Is that strictly for a freshman?
No, I think that's transfer too.
See, then I would feel like that's the one that needs we got a discussion about.
Well, he had 23 carries, 149 yards rushing.
But they lost.
Yeah, I get that. Who would you? Yeah, but I'm like,
I mean, who would you replace? So you mean to tell me we ain't got no transfer that?
But everybody, like we just said, everybody
we only got two teams that won though. Southern doesn't have
true.
Southern doesn't have anybody, I think, who was a newcomer that deserves it.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
And then Grambling would be.
It would be Bull, but he ain't have the stats, compared to what he put up. That's fair. I'm with you. I'm with
you. Yeah. All right. For the MEAC, I mean,
no.
I mean, might well put the whole team on here. From for offensive player of the week, crazy. North Carolina Central Walker Harris. For defensive player of the week, Dalen Long from Norfolk State. For rookie of the week, you had Javion Martin. For offensive lineman of the week, AC McMore. And for specialist of the week, you got one Velarde.
Yeah, yes. I feel like
this is the complete opposite of what you said.
Yeah, if we putting people up who don't win, then Marquis Adams got to be the player of the week. I'm just saying, bro. If you ain't got to win to get it,
yeah,
that man was his whole team.
The bad part is Walker only played like 2 quarters and had more stats than Marquis. That's how bad A&T was.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Here we go. For CIAA, I kind of like how they do it. They break it down kind of position. But it can be a lot.
I can't even read that.
I know.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
here's the thing. When I pull this up to put in the players of the week, and I was looking, I was like, I thought I had the wrong date because quarterback, offensive back, and wide receiver were all the offensive players of the week last week. From Johnson C. Smith, Darius Ocean was the quarterback of the week. From Winston-Salem State, Trevon Hester was the offensive back of the week. From Shaw, Ashawn Belcher from wide receiver of the week. From Winston-Salem State, offensive lineman of the week was Keith Quick. From Johnson C. Smith, defensive lineman of the week was Jalen Alexander. From Fayetteville State, linebacker of the week was Elijah Casey. From Shaw, the defensive back of the week was I can't even see Mackey, Riegson Mackey. My bad. Special team player of the week from Winston-Salem State, Gilberto, and I'm gonna stop there. And rookie of the week from Bowie State, Kevin Taylor.
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, my glaucoma kicking in, and I can't read nothing but Keith Quick.
Listen, I got glasses on, and it's hard for me to see most of these. And the only reason why I can see it is because I did it earlier. I put it together.
I can't read none of that, boy.
Yeah.
That's like trying to read the fine print on the credit card application or some shit, man.
Hold on. What you got? What you want to talk about? No, you don't know. You can't. I told you you can't just come on. Alabama A&M, we talked about them. They lost really bad. Okay. All right. Well, there we go. We're gonna roll with that. Any other games or anything we didn't really cover that I missed news wise?
I don't think so. The hot seat's getting real hot there in Huntsville, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Let me ask you this. because both him and McDowell contracts up at the end of the season, if I'm correct. Do either one of them return next year?
I think if anybody returns, it's McDowell. He has a chance.
Yeah. Here's the tricky part, though. Because of the football culture surrounding A&M, if he finds a way to win the Magic City Classic, is he back?
I don't think so.
Because
I don't think so.
Because there's some A&M fans that were calling Austin Peay a money game. That's where the football culture has went for A&M.
Austin Peay?
Yeah. So here's the with that. There are some fans who are like, we got to win homecoming, we got to win Magic City Classic. But the majority of people I've talked to, fans, media members, those who are close to the program, I saw him. This was very recent. This was Kentucky State. Hey, man, they're gonna make it, and the look they gave that conceited.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, let's look at Prairie View schedule. All right, they got Grambling next, State Fair Classic. They got Incarnate Word, UAPB, Commerce, Mississippi Valley, FAMU, Alcorn, Alabama State. How many games you like? UAPB Valley. I think we all say that they probably should win those. Other than them two, how many wins you get them on the rest of them schedule?
Not many guaranteed.
I don't see them.
I mean, there's a couple games that you would say they got a chance in, but
I will say the only one I think out of those that were mentioned that I think they have a chance in, Alabama State, and only because of the quarterback situation there. Yeah. But even that, Alabama State against Stanford this past, I mean, they were off this week, but the week prior.
And their defense gonna be good enough to keep them in that game, if anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
12 and they got to go to Alabama State on top of that.
Yes, they do.
I mean, you could be looking at a 3-win team in Prairie View, man.
Yeah. Since you did that, let's look at A&M schedule. They go to FAMU this weekend. They play Jackson State. I think that's the Port City battle. Yeah, that's in Mobile. Then it's homecoming with Bethune. Then they got a week off, and then it's Magic City Classic. Then you got Southern at home. You go to UAPB. You got Grambling at home. I'm gonna be at that one too. And then you go to Mississippi Valley.
I would say they got about three of that, maybe 4.
Yeah.
So I feel like they in a better situation just because of the schedule, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For PV. Because I mean,
you're absolutely right.
Commerce is 0-4, but I mean that's still gonna be a tough game,
especially with how they've been playing.
Yeah. So I mean, because Commerce gonna put up some points, they're gonna they're gonna throw the ball around. You know what I mean? If you ain't gonna beat them scoring 20-something points. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to put up 40 to beat them.
The other question is, I think you can't lose any of those games that we're giving them. Like if PV or Alabama A&M lose to Valley or UAPB, it's probably a wrap, I would imagine. That's probably the last straw for the fan base. Or even if A&M loses to Bethune-Cookman on homecoming and then loses to Magic City, that definitely probably seals his fate.
I mean,
go ahead.
Like
I'm telling you, the question I asked.
PV's only win this year is Northwestern State.
And they should have lost it too.
Yeah. And we We talking about the same Northwestern team that got 87 hung on them or whatever, or 85, whatever it was.
87, yeah, by South Alabama.
I mean,
you want to talk about 6 degrees of separation?
Tough year, man.
Yeah,
Prairie View, man.
Yeah. The question was asked about A&M 8-4. Do you keep Maynard? No.
8-4.
They said 8-4, and no, they're not. They I
Bro,
think
what?
I think they're done.
How many losses do they have now? 2.
That's
so that's only
crazy,
losing 2 more games.
That's crazy. That's too far. I think 8-4. You say you're not keeping them.
I think a lot of people, because I said 8-4, but one of your losses is the Magic City Classic.
Changes things. That changes.
And then I said, okay, well, what if he wins the Classic and homecoming? And people were like, a lot of people I think I keep saying it. Although, albeit it was a short season with spring, they tasted success
under him.
And I know. Listen. I'm not debating that at all. They taste success under him, and I think they feel like now they've underachieved every year since.
So he's a victim of his own success.
Yes. Do you know where I got where I got the quote? Hey, all we gotta do is win homecoming and Magic City Classic. You know where I got that quote from? Coach Maynard. I asked him it was last year during SWAC media. I asked him about, saying, hey, because I think they had just beat Grambling, or I think it was then I was asking him, hey, something about, saying football and he said that when he got there, they were telling him all you gotta do is win 2 games, homecoming and Magic City Classic. Since then, he's won homecoming, but who have you played for homecoming? Played Tuskegee last year, and then Magic City, you're 0-2 since then. I mean, since Eddie Robinson joined. So
if you go 8-4, right now you're 2-2. If you go 8-4, and you saying that you beat Bama State in the Classic, that means your only losses would be to FAMU, Jackson State, or Grambling. And so you arguably coming out the East, you know what I'm saying? Or finishing second in the East, and you talking about firing Maynard?
Now I think it's different if they, if they do come out of the East. I think that changes the narrative too.
Let's say they lose to FAMU, beat Jackson State, beat Bama State, and lose to Grambling, and they finish second in the East behind FAMU. You still firing Maynard?
No, I'm not. But I'm also not the fan base. I'm also not the athletic director who's now poured money into every program on that campus, and you've seen your basketball coach go to the finals of the tournament of your conference tournament. You've just brought in a brand new women's coach.
Yeah, but you finished second.
I agree,
and I return on your investment. And the next question becomes, who you gonna get?
I'm just saying it's a tight end coach with there's a coach coaching tight ends right now that has plenty of success that's down in Baton Rouge.
I mean,
that's fair.
If things go like we say, I wouldn't be surprised if they hit up McDowell.
You can't do that.
Now that's backwards.
Yeah,
it is.
You could do that.
I'm just saying.
That's backwards.
I mean, he's been to No, it's just been one. Because that was Dooley before that. Hell, Dooley might get a call.
Once again, that's backwards.
I'm just saying, it's. I think McNair is your first call though. If that happens,
I wouldn't mind that, but the other ones would be insane.
I mean, I could, but if you McNair, do you go there whenever he just got fired after going 8-4? You know what I mean? Like,
but I don't think
fired. Yeah, I don't know if he got fired.
No. His contract didn't get renewed after going 8-4.
Well, they tried. He just said, "Give me more money," and they said no.
No, I'm talking about no. I'm talking about if
will he replace Maynard?
8-4. If he goes 8-4 and they replace him,
oh yeah, no, I don't know about that.
No. So here's the thing. I don't think if Maynard goes 8-4, he's not getting fired because he's going 8-4. He's getting fired because he's barely been above 500 most of his time there, and kind of underperforming and supposed to you're the quarterback guru, and you have had a good quarterback since Akil Glass, and I don't think you brought him in.
All right, so once again, like before he got there, what have they won?
Nothing.
Listen, I completely agree. I'm bringing if he goes 8-4 this year, I think it's easy to say we can bring him back. You don't necessarily have to do a 5-year contract. You can bring him back.
I just feel like there's a certain level of thinking that people feel like they're better than what they had, like what they are. You know what I'm saying? Like some programs are 8-4 programs. Not every program is a championship program. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you have to just be content with being 8-4 by any means. You know what I mean? But that's the ceiling. Some places is 8-4. That's as good as you're gonna get at some places. And if you start getting to the point to where you feel like you're in that next tier when you're really not, that's how you become North Carolina A&T. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just being serious. No. I'm just being serious, bro.
No, I'm with you when you're right. I'm also I'm not saying what Pooh Bear.
Yeah, these are the alums talking, because there were a lot of alums that said if he didn't win the SWAC, they wanted him gone.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is you better hope the grass greener. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
I agree. I can't. Like I said, I'm with you when you're right. That's all I can say.
You better hope the grass greener, because it could get ugly before it get better.
All right, I ain't got nothing else. We just stirred the pot enough. If people come after Blue, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, man. The Blue Bloods on all podcast room platforms, YouTube, all that good stuff, man. At Zach McKinnell on social media, FCS Football Central on si.com/college/FCS. And as always, guys, man, appreciate y'all having me, man. This is by far one of the most fun shows that I ever get invited on, man. So shout out to y'all.
Hey, man, appreciate you as always, man. My brother. And it's funny, Zach, we both from the same place, and I see you more in Birmingham than I ever do at home. So but man, we'll be back on Thursday. Give a preview of the week, upcoming Saturday. We'll also have SIAC Players of the Week, which should be no-brainers. But yeah, we'll be back on what day I said again? Thursday. Like that. We out. This show was presented by betonline.ag.
Bring me my money.